In this video, I'm going to show you how I turn a bunch of sticks into an elegant wedding cake stand. I started off with a rough sketch of how I wanted this thing to look, and then I found a stick that would work with my design. I chopped the end off and then drilled out the middle so that I could put a dowel inside. And then when I realised it didn't balance very well, I used the calibrated finger method to figure out how much I needed to shave off to make it balance. I had to make a custom-made dowel for this branch to sit on because I had the two different drill sizes. If I'd thought about it in advance, I could have just used the one smaller drill bit and then used something like a broom handle for it to sit on. But I didn't think that far ahead, so I had to make my own. But I guess it is a good excuse to have a play on the lathe. I found these pre-cut slices of logs online that would act as the base for the cakes to sit on, and I'll put a link in the video description of where you can find these. I just had a look at this thing by eye and figured out where I wanted the various platforms to be, and then I chopped off the end of the branch to suit. I used my trusty angle finder to figure out what angle the hole had to be in the base. I then drilled it out, again by eye, not that accurately. Once that was drilled, I glued up the dowel I'd made, with probably a little bit too much glue, and whacked it in the end of the branch. Then I glued up the end sticking out, I made a mess of it, and then stuck it in the base. There was a bit of a gap around the bottom from where I hadn't drilled this out very accurately, so I used some wood glue and sawdust to make a filler to fill up any gaps. Then I chopped off the end that was sticking out without trying to damage the base too much. I tried using the same drill bit on the middle shelf and it wasn't really going very well. I was having a bit of a bad day, if I'm honest. So I switched to the smaller drill bit that had a thread on the end, and that helped it to stay centered and it pulled it through the wood. I then just made the hole bigger with a sanding head on a rotary tool. I chopped off this little lump that was in the way so it could slide down the shaft, and then I moved on to levelling up the ends. To do that, I hung it off of my vise and used a level on the base. That way I knew that if the base was level, I needed to make the top of the branch level. Then use a hand plane and some sandpaper to get the right level. Then I gave the same treatment to the other end. I marked where these shelves were going to go, then I used some thick gap-filling super glue from Starbond, and that helped to hold them in place before I fixed them permanently. I also used some accelerator and sprayed it on the other end so that it dried instantly. Starbond has sent me a range of their glues to trial, which I've been going through the past few months. What I found I like most about their glues, other than it lasting forever, is you get 2 spare nozzles and a range of these smaller nozzles if you need to do any delicate gluing work. Once the glue was dry on these shelves, I drilled out the centre again by eye, and then used a glued up dowel to hold these in place. I then use a wet cloth to wipe away any remaining glue, and I was a bit worried because it's end grain and thought the glue might have stained, but actually it wasn't too bad. I used a long screw to hold the middle shelf in place, but I didn't want to see the screw head, so I sliced away a layer of the bark, drilled a hole and countersunk it, and then used a bit of glue to glue it back over. And it did a relatively good job of keeping the screw head out of sight. The last thing left to do was to give it a coat of finish and then load it up with cakes.